The last thing we'll need to model for our character is some kind of talisman or pendant that he has hanging around his neck. So first of all, we'll need to hide some parts here so they don't get in the way. So just look from the side like this and drag a selection around all those head parts and the feathers instead. And we'll just press H to hide those. We don't need to see them right now. And now we'll press Shift A and add a circle. And I think something like 24 segments will do. So rewrite 32 to 24. And now we can tab in and press 7 on the numpad for top view and scale this down a little bit to something like this. And we'll need to modify this shape. So press G then Y, move this a little bit forward, but not too much, so that the distance here looks consistent. And now we'll modify the shape even more with proportional editing. So press O to enable that, select the front vertex, press G then Y and move this to the front and adjust the fall off with the mouse wheel to something like this. Okay, and now we'll disable proportional editing by pressing O again. And let's go to the snapping settings, and instead of vertex we'll be snapping to face. And don't forget to check project individual elements, so the vertices are projected separately. And now let's rotate this a little bit so you can see where this is located. So we can go back now with number 7 on the numpad, and now select all, press A, and we'll press G, then Z. So we are moving only on the Z axis, but we don't see this. And now hold Control, so these vertices actually snap to the surface of the body, and left click with the mouse. And what happened is that we limited the movement on the Z axis, and with snapping and individual elements projected, we snapped this circle on the body. And that's exactly what we need. And now we'll just need to modify this a little bit more. So go to the front view by pressing 1 on the numpad and select this front vertex once again. And once again we'll enable proportional editing with O, press G and Z, and by holding Control we can move this down so these two vertices are kind of touching the edge of the chest there, something like that. And we can look from the side now, and as you can see it goes something like this. So we can now just press G and move it in place like that and adjust the position of these two vertices. We'll have to toggle the X-ray so we hit all of those vertices when we are selecting them. Disable proportional editing, press G and move it in place like this. Okay, let's check it out. Looks all fine to me. So we can now tab out, toggle the X-ray and press Q again and convert this to curve from mesh. And we'll add some bevel geometry here, something like 0.015 will be enough. And let's reduce the resolution to 2 again, and Ctrl 1 to add that subdivision modifier with 1 level of subdivision, and right click and shade smooth. So we have a nice curve there. And now go into the edit mode. And since we snapped the curve itself on the body, now that it has some volume, it goes inside of the mesh there. So let's press G and Z and move this up a tiny bit. We can help ourselves by holding Shift and leave it like this. Okay, we can now continue by creating a talisman itself. So let's press Shift A and we'll add a cylinder here. And let's modify this to 6 sides. Press S to scale down and we'll apply the scale. So Ctrl A and apply the scale. And now we can press period on the numpad. So we are focusing our view on the object and start modeling. If you don't want the body to get in the way, you can additionally press slash on the numpad, and that will isolate the object in the local view, as you can see here. So there's nothing visible here, and we are in the local view for this object only. And if we now look from the front, you have to exit local view to see the reference there. You can see the shape right here, and this is something we are going to be modeling right now. So let's go back to the local view, toggle the X-ray, and we'll start by tabbing in the edit mode. Let's scale this down, the top side, the top face, and we'll select the bottom face, move it a little bit down like this, maybe adjust the scale a tiny bit, then press E to extrude and scale this down. So this is the basic shape of the talisman. We can scale this down even more, I think. Okay, and now I will use a bisect tool to give this that kind of more organic crystalline look. So let's select the bisect tool from the toolbar. It's here where the knife is. If you click and hold, you can select the bisect tool. And now you need to have your geometry selected to be able to use the bisect. So press A, rotate this a little bit and make a cut like this. Just under this loop, start the cut and do it like that. And that will create this bisect gizmo. You can additionally move this if you don't like the position. And now here in the bisect tool settings, you can choose whether you clear the outer or inner part of the cut. So let's clear the outer since the arrow is facing this way. And now if you look at this, it's open, so we'll need to check fill additionally. And this is what we are going to use to make the rest of the talisman here. So let's press A again to select all, rotate this a little bit and make maybe a larger cut here so it goes over the loop there. But now you can see the arrow is pointing this direction, so we'll clear the inner and fill. And we'll do one more cut here, so press A, do a cut, clear inner and fill. Okay, and maybe somewhere here as well, and fill. Okay, this is looking all right so far, but I think this bottom part should be longer. So let's select all, press S, then Z, and scale this up a little bit. Then we can look from the front, toggle the X-ray, pick up the select tool once again, select these vertices here, and move them up a little bit. Now we can toggle the X-ray again, rotate this a little bit, go to the face select by pressing 3, select the top face, press E for extrusion, but release this with the right mouse button, and now just scale it up. So press S and scale it out like that. And now press E again and scale this up. Let's do an inset. So press I for inset and move this up. G, then Z, and move this up. Maybe we can scale it on the X and Y. So S and Shift Z, scale this up a little bit. Okay. Now, if we look from the top, we can see that the corner of this cylinder is facing the front, is on the y-axis, and we want to rotate that. So let's press A to select all, R, Z, and enter 30 degrees, confirm. So now we have these faces aligned with the y-axis. And now I want to extend the part that goes around the rope on the neck. So let's go to the vertex select these two vertices by holding Shift and press J to join. As you can remember, that will create two faces there. And now with the vertex select active again, I want to select these two, press J to join. And this way we created a rectangular shape here, the rectangular face. And we can now extrude this out. And now switch to the edge select by pressing 2, select these two edges and press Ctrl B to bevel. So we want to have something like this. Now I will select these side faces. 3 for face select this one, rotate a little bit and shift click here to select that one as well. And now I want to inset these, and we are creating a hole here, but we need this in circular shape. So with the loop tools add-on enabled, I will just right click, loop tools, and select circle here. Let's look from the side and let's rotate this a little bit. So R, and let's align this and maybe move it here tiny bit, and we still have the other one selected as well. So while in the side view this was all happening at once. And now we need to delete these faces, so X faces, and go to the edge select by pressing 2, alt click this loop, so we have both of those selected. And now we can just right click and select bridge edge loops, and that will connect those. And we have now one solid geometry for the whole talisman, for the whole pendant. Now let's fix this shape once again a little bit. So look from the front side, toggle X-ray, go to the vertex select, and I want to select all of those and move them a little bit up and scale it down so it matches the size of this top part right here a little bit more. Okay, now toggle the X-ray again, and we'll now add bevel modifier. So go to the modifiers tab and add the bevel, and we'll add 2 segments, and we want that arc for the miters, so select that. And now for the limit method, we don't want everything to be beveled because we want this hole to be circular. But at the same time, we can't really use angle because it's really inconsistent. There are a lot of angles here. We won't be able to match all of those needs. So we need more of a manual control over what gets beveled and what not. And we need to enable the weight mode. So you can immediately see nothing gets beveled because there are no bevel weights on these edges. So if we go in the edit mode, so let's tab in. And I will use the N key here to expand the side panel. You can see there's mean bevel weight for the edges data. And now if we select all and increase the mean bevel weight to 1, you will see those blue lines appear which mark the beveled edges. So now go to the edge select, and I really wanted to select all and bevel everything because more things will be beveled in the end than not. So we'll just now select these parts that we don't want to get beveled, and we'll modify the mean bevel weight to 0 for them. So here in the bottom, I want this beveled. I want that diamond look, that this is basically chiseled and it's a hard surface. And I want to keep this hexagonal shape up here as well, so it looks like it's crafted from metal or something. But at the same time, I want a circular shape right here at the top. Let's tab back in, and now we'll select those edges we don't want to be beveled. So these are all the inside edges of this circle, and there's an easy way how to select them. You can just hold Alt as you would select the loop, but then hold Control additionally and click these edges. And if we enable X-ray, you can see that these are selected. It's a little bit harder visible because these edges are marked blue at the same time, but you can see they are a little bit highlighted. So if you alt click here, you will select these edges along the face loop. So that's a useful trick. And now we can reduce the mean bevel weight for them to 0. You can see they are no longer blue. And if we tab out and toggle X-ray, we can see there's no beveling happening there. So tab in, and we'll need to select these edges as well. So Alt Control click those as well and decrease the bevel weight there, and on the other side as well. And that's basically it. So we can tab out. And now if we enable subdivision modifiers, so press Ctrl 1 for one level of subdivision and right click to shade smooth, you can see that the bevel modifier created these supporting edges for us. So these things are creased and sharp, but the inside of the hole is smooth shaded and it's subdivided because there were no beveling happening there. Now the one last thing to do is to go in the edit mode again, select all, let's look from the side, and let's press G then Z and move all the way down here. We can zoom in a little bit so we better see, and let's move this in a way that the origin point is in the middle of the hole. So, and right now if we tab out and rotate this and manipulate, it will rotate around that origin point. And now we can exit that local view, so press slash on the numpad once again, and we can move this in place. So press G, move it right here we can toggle the X-ray, so we better see this curvature here, and let's leave it like this and rotate it in place and probably make it a little bit smaller so it barely touches this here. Okay, now we can rotate it even more so it touches, almost touches the body. Not really, it's not that important right now. And now we can toggle X-ray again, press Alt-H to unhide all of the other geometry. I will disable my wireframe overlay and have a look around. So this is our finished model of the shaman character. That's basically it. There will be no more modeling apart from those little wisps that we'll create in the end. But this is now ready for a little bit of unwrapping and texturing. So good job getting all the way up here. This is your first character model that's finished, and now we'll just need to make it look great.